Welcome back to the Long Way Back podcast. I'm your host, Timmy Long. Today I'm joined on my own, but we have a great guest here today. His name is Dave Kennedy. Dave's an online coach, personal development and fitness coach, and he's also a coach to farmers, and he's in the farming industry as well. But most importantly, Dave was on his own journey around weight loss, and he's going to share his story with us here. Dave, welcome.
Thanks very much for having me, Tim.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
So look, I suppose for myself, like you said, we're on a bit of a journey. We've all been on a bit of a journey, and I guess that's what equates us to be here today. You know, I guess for myself, going from the very get go to everyone paint the picture for everyone is, you know, for coming from a farming background, we were milking 80 cows. We owned a pub as well, so not the best dynamic late nights, early mornings, right?
There's tough one here, lads.
You know, so but from a very young age, I was hard working. You know, so from 12 years of age, I was behind the bar and milking cows. So, but my mother was a great cook as well, and I was always stocky.
Yeah.
I was always the hardy boy, you could say, or the farming strength.
Big boned is this, yeah.
Big boned.
That's right, I was just big boned.
Yeah. Oh, sure, look. But even for myself, I was always, you know, a slight bit bigger, but nothing crazy. You know, a strong young lad, you could say. And I guess for myself, all the way up through playing GA and playing rugby as well. When playing rugby in Rockwell College, so playing prop forward, always had that, I suppose, level of acceptance of having a place playing props. I had a job, so the weight was used for something. And I guess through the years played rugby, and the weight worked very, very well with that as well. So I suppose paint the picture for everyone, I suppose, you know, from 14, 15, 16, 17 years of age, I was kind of around 100 kilos, 16 stone odd, right? And
you're 6'2" as well.
6'2", yeah. So very active as well, like playing schools rugby was 5 days a week. So I was fit as well. But eat like a horse like at home, like, you know. And that was the thing. The mother was a great cook, like, and milk then with the dinner, like,
Feed her.
Literally.
That's what I call my wife inside. She's a feeder.
Yeah. Oh. And then milk as well. So I used to drink, you know, 2 to 2.5 litres of milk a day straight from the bull tank. So the good stuff, like. So the good stuff, right? So pure cream, you know. So and even adding it up there now, like, you know, I'm talking to clients now, it's about 2,500 calories of liquid without, you know, not even talking about food, like. So the wonder is heavy, like. You know,
a lot of protein in that too.
Yeah, plenty, sure. Yeah. You know, there was plenty of strength there as well, like, there's no doubt. But you know, looking back now, tell you what, you're so green, like, you would know the difference, like, you know. But I suppose the first inkling to even about the weight, and I suppose understanding about even eating and emotional eating, because I'd always say, look, I am an emotional eater, I just know how to deal with it now, you know, and I'd always say that. The big thing for me was going out for the first time socialising. And it was in third year, I was probably a bit young now, to be fair, like, but all the girls were going for the backs. The lads that were in shape and the thin lads and all. And I was like, Jesus, like, maybe, you know, being this way playing prop is not be on end all, like, you know. And that kind of caused me even coming home the next day, and I was literally eating more and didn't even realise at the time. This hindsight's a great thing looking back from all the work you do now, like, but you know, I suppose the biggest change in our lives, my family's life, the 21st of January 2010, I lost my sister tragically in a car accident. She was killed going on the way to Clonmel. She was nursing in Waterford, and she was doing placement, and just 2010 during the bad ice, she was killed tragically in a car accident at 19, and I was 17 at the time.
That was tough.
So yeah, as you could only imagine, turned our whole world upside down.
Have you many siblings, Dave?
So there was just 3 of us. Myself, Sarah was the oldest. There was a year and a half between myself and Sarah, and so 6 years in Mike. Mike's the youngest.
Okay.
So it's myself and Mike there, and Sarah, and we were really close as well. John, being so close of age, was a year and a half between us, and that turned all our worlds upside down, you know. And I guess for myself, there was an awful lot of emotions there for them couple of years of grief, because look, I always say grief can hit you in so many different ways, you know, and everyone has their poison as well, and it's to having an outlet is probably the right way of saying it. Is like, you know, you can turn to drugs, drink alcohol, to drugs, drink, food, gambling, whatever your poison is, right? Mine was food, you know, and for them couple of years I went from 16 stone to 22 stone weight, you know, in the matter of, you know, 2 to 2.5 years. And I suppose didn't care either. you know, and being quite honest, you know, looking back now, I was very angry. Very angry with the world, very angry with fate, you could say. You know, when someone, it's not the natural way. You know, when your parents pass away ahead of you, that's the natural way of nature. That's the way it happens, right? But when a sibling goes, or when someone's daughter or son goes before them, you know, you have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And that caused me to have a lot of questions, because for me, you know, we're so close, even, you know, through that time, even asking her about girls and stuff like that. We had a great bond, like, and I showed her how to drive a car. I showed her how to drive a quad bike.
Yeah.
I was the bold one in the family, you could say. You know, I was the...
And she could tame you then.
Yeah, she was a saint, like, you know, she done no wrong, and that's, you know, the girls used to even come into our house and say, "You keep that young lad off the road with the quad bike," like, you know. You know, I was the bold one.
Yeah.
And I always say to myself, you know, why was she taken, like? Why wasn't it me, like, you know, truthfully? And that caused an awful lot of eating, the anger of it, and not understanding and not caring, to be honest. Like, literally, the best way I always say to describe grief is literally you're floating, like, without care. You know, and
you lose all perception of reality.
Literally, like,
you know, the grieving overwhelms you. It
massively.
just completely takes over everything. And the reason I'm saying that is because I experienced it. You know, I've experienced grief where everything else in my life just went to a standstill.
Absolutely,
and this just took complete over.
100%, and it's just, you don't care, you know. And I guess for myself, even I was in fifth year at the time, you know, I was in the first semester, you could say. Just to start the second semester, because it was January. Coming into, I didn't do much school, to be quite honest, for the rest of that year. I was in and out, and I wanted to leave school at the time. I was going to do a mechanics apprenticeship over in the UK. It was a small engine apprenticeship, because we're into bikes and quads and all that. And my parents actually would let me, and they actually put me into boarding 5 days a week.
Did they?
Over in Rockwell, so they locked me away. But, like, you know what, I'm so thankful for it now, because, you know, looking back, like, it was probably the best thing could happen to me, because boarding 5 days a week in the school gave me structure. You know, you had your curfew, 10 o'clock, you're in the bed, you're in a room with one of your best friends. And I was away from the home environment. Like, my sister's room beside my room, had to pass it every day. Everything was a memory of her. And it was like a dark cloud, you could say, at home.
How were the rest of the family coping?
Oh, sure, look, you know, even looking back,
you know, mother and father, they're like, that's tough.
Literally. Actually, look, they're still not over, to be honest.
I don't think don't think it ever ever happens. I think the pain kind of, it never leaves, but you kind of learn ways to just adjust and to understand life a little bit more without, you know, because you spoke there earlier about, like, you just could not understand why she would die.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think there's any answer to that.
Absolutely.
Really. And like, one religion will say one reason, another religion will tell you another reason why it happens. But in my eyes, I don't think there's any answer. I don't know. I don't think there's anyone who can actually tell you why life like that could be just taken so easily.
100%, you know, and even for my parents at the time, it's such a blur, like, when we look back at it, like, you know, them couple of years, like, we're all just trying to fucking, you know, keep each other together, like, you know. And at the time, the older generation, like, my dad is just a worker, like, you know, like, all the
work,
literally just messed, like, work. And that time he got offered, we're farming at home and we had the pub as well, but he used to work abroad an awful lot for years. He general manager for huge agricultural companies, and an offer came up, and I just remember sitting at the table around that time. It was the same, maybe 2011, 2010, and I just remember my nana, because my nana lived with us as well. She was my second mother. She reared us a bit as well. And my nana was like, "Look, Mick, it's my father's name. Go. You need to go." And he went, and he just worked 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And that was his way to deal with it. Like, and you know what? Looking back now, you could say it was tough on us. tough on me and tough on everyone else, because now I was the man of the house. I had more responsibility, and I lost my sister, and lost my dad too a little bit.
Tough going, boy.
Tough, like
Tough,
trying to, but the positive out of all of it was, when he was working over in Abu Dhabi at the time, we used to go over every holiday, Easter, Christmas, you name it. And looking back, it was the best thing ever, because it got us all away and it gave us huge hope. Like,
and it gave you your own little space to grieve as well, didn't it? I think that's important, because when some people are grieving and you're all trying to grieve in different ways around each other, it can be judgmental, because one person is grieving in a way and the other person is grieving in a way, and there can be a judgment on each other's grieving.
100%.
Because one person mightn't be grieving as much as you, but the reality of it is, we all grieve differently in different ways.
Massive, yeah.
Like when my own mother passed, myself and Thomas were together in the prison at the time, and the way I grieved was different to Thomas. It was completely different, because I was in a different headspace and stuff, and but I understood what was going on for him. Thomas couldn't really show too much emotion, because he had an accident when he was small. He got a kick of a horse into the forehead, and they broke his teardrum. He couldn't shed a tear. Jesus. Couldn't cry. Can't cry. So, like, normally when we see somebody grieving and showing emotion, there's tears.
Yes.
But Thomas couldn't show it.
Yeah.
But I understood it.
Of course.
But I'm walking around the place then in bits in the landing. It got to bad such a stage with me that one of the officers came over to me and he says to me, "You're gonna have to stop crying, like." I said, "1 fucking minute, my mother just died."
Yeah.
I couldn't even get to the see her, and didn't even go home to bury her. Like, our family home then was taken. We lived in a house for 35 years. That was taken back by the council. So basically, we were homeless. We had no family home to go back to or anything. And it's tough, boys. It's really tough, and it's very important that we all grieve in the right way that we can. But what's also very important as well, Dave, is that we grieve, that we allow ourselves to grieve.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't think there's any such thing as the old sayings used to go years ago. He's tough. He'll get up. He'll get.
Yeah.
I don't think no one's tough enough to not to grieve for someone that they really love and care for.
100%. Do you know what I mean? 100%. And just like you're saying there, grief can affect people in so many different ways. It can break up families. It can bring families close together, and thank God we're closer than ever were.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think it's because of the situation, the way it fared out, because going over to Abu Dhabi for the holidays gave us hope, got us away from the environment, and it gave us a break away from that dark cloud, you could say, and it helped so much. But, again, it's like you said, with grief, you can't bury it. There's only so much burying you can do, in my opinion. And all you're doing, if you don't work it out, it's like putting a plaster over an open wound.
100%.
It never sorts it. Yeah. And it comes out in many different ways in people then, if it's whichever way they release, because they don't know how to express it or how to actually process it. And, everyone grieves differently, but the most important thing is you have to grieve, like you said. And the people that don't will always find it more difficult, and will affect them for their life. Yeah, they'll bottle
it up, and it comes out in anger. It'll come out and it'll start festering. And it just keeps getting harder and harder. And before you know it, then you're actually hating everything and everyone.
That's it.
And
become like it's again. It's like I said, for years I was angry, and just angry with life, and the thing about it is, looking back now, I had to go through what I had to go through what I went through to be where I am now.
Yes,
totally truthfully, and even going out to Dubai, getting away, it helped so much, so many of us, and it gave us massive hope, like I was saying. And the reality of it then was, I could actually come back and, we got through the school, finished the leaving cert, went to UCC for a year, didn't like it, done environmental science, and I should have done agriculture from the get-go. I don't even know why I didn't. Don't even ask me why. So I'd done 6 months of that and dropped out because it wasn't for me. And I went back milking cows at home while the father was away, and I milked them for the rest of the summer. And we're into cars as well, so buying, selling cars, doing up cars, that was like another mass for me that saved me. Like, you know, it put all the time and effort into cars, like, you know, and very sentimental to me now, you know, because I truly think in a way they saved my life in a way, you know, because I could utilise that, and it was something that I enjoyed and it was something that I was passionate for, and that was a very strong word, as passionate for something, especially going through something like that. That's why I can understand, you know, lads into cars, what it means to some lads, you know, and it's why lads are really into cars will understand it too, you know. But that really, really helps. So it was milking cows all day, milking cows morning, evening, and doing the farm work, and then down to the shed till about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, taking out suspension, changing bits and bobs in cars, going up the country, getting parts.
Your mind was always on something.
Had to be.
Mate, you know what? It's just so similar to the addict, like, or the alcoholic. Because when I was drinking and drugging, all I was doing was burying stuff as well. That I didn't know how to deal with that down here, and my mind never thought of anything other than drink or drugs. Never anything or criminality. Which was feeding my habits. Like, nothing else was able. It wasn't until I stopped and drinking drugs couldn't be a part of my life anymore because I was dying from it. That I started to allow. I didn't start alone. I didn't know what I was in for until it started. All this stuff started to resurface, and I was like, "What? How do I deal with this?" Like, and it was tough. Did it happen to you?
Yeah, well, like for ourselves, like for myself, I had to go through what I thought would change everything for me, and that was changing the body. You know, and just coming on to the part where where it all changed, you could say. You know, I went back into second year of college. I was 22 stone at the time because of the habits I had. Mother was good food at home in the summertime. Ate a takeaway on top of the dinner at the cars, you know, and drinking as well, you know. And in fairness, drink, even though like it just doesn't make, my grandfather was an alcoholic and that's in the genes, and I was always warned off it. But for me, being totally honest with him, when I used to drink, I was thinking about my sister too much. And it used to make me not want to drink too much. So it was only if I was drinking, there was only a few, wasn't an all out session, like. And back into college at that weight was, you know, a totally different environment because I could talk the legs off to anyone. I could sell the socks off your feet, right? Being rare in the pub. When lads come in at 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, one lad, you're there for 2 hours with him. You have to create a conversation with him. Like,
I'd say you sold someone out the cars at that part. I'd say you made it right. If you quit at the bar, like if you're able to talk,
but when you have to talk, like when you have no choice but have to talk, you get good at talking, like, you know. So for me, I was, you could say, the confident fat guy, you could say, because I had friends that were girls. I never had a girlfriend, but I'd fucking more friends that were girls than the lads are in shape. They envied me because I could talk. And no bother going to the pub, going to a house party, no bother, but going to the nightclub was that's where I had to exit, like, because as you know, everyone goes pulling in the nightclub. And that's where I had anxiety in my chest. You know, I had no self-belief in myself. And I felt like even when I was with the lads, I was holding the lads back. I felt like a spare prick, like. So I used to just exit, like, or just disappear. To a stage where it kept happening, and I used to, you know, disappear, and the boys would be like, "Where'd you go?" And I said, "Look, I met one of the lads, went to a house party." I was lying to him, like, or we got too drunk, and all these lies, and all he was doing was going home, getting a taxi home, getting a takeaway on the way home, and going back by myself, and just feeling like so low. So went to an extent where they started calling me Disappearing Dave. But they didn't know any different, like, you know, at the time. They didn't know the real reason why I was doing it, like. And it went to a stage then just with the weight where I stopped socialising. That was in college, the second year. And there was a couple of nights then the following over, that was kept over the space of 8 months. And I used to go out an awful lot less. But when I used to be not going out, I used to be having FOMO at the boys being out, so I used to eat. So it's like the double-edged sword. So I was like damaging myself. You know?
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus, like, but one night that I used to go out without fail was Halloween night. And that's where you would try on a monk suit, a set of overalls, and no one cared about pulling. Like, no one, it wasn't a night for pulling, like. So there was no pressure. So
would you think it would have anything to do with the costume behind the mask, like?
Oh, like, I used to have the monk costume on, used to be happy out.
It's like, nobody know who you are.
Great crack, like. And sure, women be wearing this, everything and anything, but like, there'll be lads wearing fucking boxes around their head with cardboard.
So believe it or not, I was the exact same. I was shy. I couldn't even talk to a woman, literally.
Yeah.
But give me a drink.
You'll be fine.
Oh my God.
It does courage.
It's the drink, boy.
Yeah, but for me, with the drink, I used to close up.
Yeah.
It was the opposite. I was thinking about my sister. I used to get quiet. I used to close up if I drank too much. And then when I put into that environment, I used to even get worse. And then I used to get in my own head saying, Jesus, I don't want to be pulling on the boys, cock blocking them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was in my head then. I was like, oh, I'm going to be pulling, I'm going to, and not doing that. Gone. That's the way it used to be, like. But even that night I came home early.
Yeah. But that's when you were overweight.
That's when I was 22 stone, Yeah, that's when I was 22
like, there's a lot of people going to be looking at this now and they're saying, Jesus Christ, your man is like a fucking model, like, geez, I'd say you get a lot of attention now when you go out these days.
Sure, look.
You know?
Yeah. But the reality of it is, like, you know, the reality of it is that when I was coming home, even that night of Halloween, I came home and even Light's a taxi driver. Remember, I'll never forget it. Even Light's a taxi driver on the way home. He goes, "Jeez, you're going home early. I've walked in the morning." I was even lying to him. I was like, you know,
there's no 20-year-old goes home from like early, like, you know, because of the work.
That was it, like, and I just remember that was the moment where everything changed for me. Was I came home, there was tears rolling down my face, and I sat into the bed in the apartment, and I just said to myself, if my sister was here, if Sarah was here, and how close we were, if I told her what I was doing and how I was feeling, how would she feel? And she'd be very upset. And ever since then, I just changed everything. And everything we do to this day, loses
the way. That's a powerful moment there.
Tears rolling down my face, and I just said to myself, you know, if she was here, I told her exactly what I was doing, like, how would she feel? And I knew she'd be very upset, you know, so that changed everything for me. I said, what I'm going to do, everything I'm going to do is make her proud, and even to this day it's the same. It never changed. And that was the purpose, you know. So fast forward 15 months after that night, I lost 8 stone.
Jesus Christ, 8 stone in 15 months.
Yeah, it was not the best way. Like, I was as green as anyone else.
Yeah.
I, you know, started on a 2,000 calorie diet, went down to 800 calories by the finish of it now, and I done more damage than good, to be honest with you. But I didn't know any different. Yeah. You know, I was the weight, I remember going to a place, and, you know, I always commend people that ask for help, right, that put their hand up, because I know it's not easy. Because even for me, I didn't ask for help. I went to, it was basically like a house that was set up as a gym with exercise equipment in it. And my friend was going, he lost like 10 pounds there. And I just said to him, Jez, I might go with you. That's what I said to him. And I went with him, and I done 4 months there, and I lost 4 stone, and started on a 2,000 calorie diet. That's what was given to me, and I was 140 kilos at the time. And I remember jumping up in the body fat yoke. I know they're not that accurate now, but it was 51% body fat. It was. That's what I said in the yoke.
When you were
140, 22 stone, yeah. So
that's a lot of weight there.
Yeah. So, but after losing the 4 stone, I was coming into the summertime, and we used to go off to the father then, working abroad. So I lost the other 4 stone driving machinery. While I was abroad, yeah.
Jesus Christ, so, you were training over there as well.
So I just kept it going. Myself and Mike used to call it fat camp. We used to go over for 16 weeks, and we used to do this thing called Insanity. There was this thing in front of the television.
I didn't. I was ripped to death after.
Oh my God, there was some, I hate it.
I do you know what? Some fitness.
Oh my God.
The best I've ever done.
Going now.
Yeah, I actually started, Nicole bought it for me. Sent the CDs into the prison. I used to do it. I actually done 4 months of it straight at one time, because I was hitting off probably 108 or 9 kilos when I went in. And I got down to about 87.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, 87 kilos.
I lost the rest of it. I lost the rest of it doing it 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Myself and Michael, I used to hate it. But it was so fun.
You feel absolutely. It's like it changes everything. Your mentality, your how athletic, how fit, how
wouldn't believe you do some of the stuff
stretch.
that you do.
Unbelievable. Insanity. What was his name again?
Sean Teal.
I
never forget.
Fuck, some fit people on that one.
Unreal, yeah. He used to love the women in the front, lad.
He did. Yes.
But myself and Mike, we done that 4 days a week, and I used to do 6 days of spinning as well in a gym in the evening time. And,
spinning is great too, isn't it?
It's great. It was all exercise. There was no weights really, just the body weight from Insanity. It was all cardio, And sure, when I started inside officially, when I started losing the weight, I started on 2,000 calories, and then I got used to it to go down to 1,700, 1,500. Then I was over there, I went down to 1,250, 1,800 calories, and I was probably eating less than a child. And I lost the other 4 stone, but I was 80. I went from 140 down to 82 kilos or so, something like that, anyway, or 81 kilos or something like that.
That's nearly half your body weight.
Yeah, it was. When I was thinking about it after, it's the weight of a girl, a woman, a slender woman, it's great.
And was there a drive to keep going to losing weight, or did you know you were after hitting the mark,
My sister, that was it. No one could talk to me, No one could, it's like you said there, when you put your mind to something,
it's straight ahead,
That's it. And that's all or nothing approach, and I had to work on that afterwards.
So you went down to 81 kilos.
Yeah.
And what was the process then after that? Did you make a decision to build yourself?
So I looked at myself in the mirror that time, and this is why I always talk about loose skin. I lost weight in 15 months. I know it wasn't the right way, but I worked harder than anyone.
Yeah, 100%.
And I said, why don't I look like someone that's ripped? Because my chest was loose, stomach was a bit loose, and I was still don't get me wrong, on the surface level, going from a double or triple XL t-shirt down to a medium, going from a 40-inch waist pants down to a 32-inch waist pants, all massive on the surface, you could say. But deep down, I was looking at myself in the mirror. I still wasn't happy to take my top off, because I had a lot of work to do underneath, and obviously a lot of weight to lose. I understand it. And the reality of it was, I was like, okay, now I just need to start to understand where do I go from here. And I didn't have the confidence to go into the gym team. So my brother lost 4 stone as well. So Mike, but he was younger.
Mike, a big man as well.
Yeah, he's a big man as well, in fairness. But he showed me how to train, and he was always telling me, he was like, Dave, come into the gym with me. No one will mind, or no one's going to take any notice. Because I used to walk the gym the way it was in Dubai at the time. You had to walk in through the gym to go to the spin class.
Okay.
And I used to go in there 6 days a week when Mike used to train. And he was like, come on in and start training, be good for the body, it'll tighten up. And by right, I should have done it halfway through my weight loss journey, and it would have changed how I looked massively. The chest, everything would have looked better. And I just didn't have the confidence. So I just used to zip into the spin room and do that and come out and eat feck all, more or less, and that's how I done it. And look, I didn't know any different.
Your fitness must have been at a different level, I'd say, was it?
Sure, I was a whippet, I was a whippet. I remember coming home actually that summer, and I bought a bike over there, and I brought it home, a road bike for cycling, and we done 100k in it. I never done a cycling thing before, and just done it with my eyes closed, just 100k. It was from Dunmanway up to the viaduct, was it? Or no, it was actually up to Watergrass Hill. It was for
that's some
charity thing. But that was from the spinning and all that,
I done the quest over the weekend in Clarny. I didn't even train for it. I just showed up for a bit of support with a friend of mine. And he was training for it, the whole lot, whatever. And I tore my hamstring last week. We stripped 40 ton of asbestos last week off a roof, and I was tired. So I went down to Clarny Friday, and long a week, and I got the hamstring rubbed. I rocked up then to the quest, and I drove a mountain bike as well. Everybody else was on racers.
There's a massive difference.
I came in something like was it 64th overall?
The mountain
Your
bike.
man that was training that was with me came in at 165. Because of my fucking drive.
Mindset.
It's just like I could,
Yeah.
like, because I was doing a bit of spinning, and I bet to mention that I was doing a bit of spinning. I do a bit of spinning with my wife and a bit of Pilates and yoga as well, and that definitely stood to me.
Yeah, massive. Yeah.
But like, it was just like when I got out there was nothing else in my head. There was a cycle for 22k. There was a jog for 8.5 kilometres up Torque Waterfall, up the hill, up the mountain,
Fine climb too.
across.
Jesus.
And then a kilometre on the kayak in the lake, and then back to the Clowney race course and a 2.5 here. And I started feeling the two quads starting to, the muscles starting to lock. Like, I know I need to get in. But I got in anyway, and I was fucking chuffed. And they were just on the line. My wife was there, my son and my brother, and they were just there to cheer me in. I swear, and I mean this truly, I was never so proud of myself.
Yeah.
Do you know, and I was never so happy and excited just to be able to do something like that, because I never really give myself, I never give myself credit for anything, any of my achievements, but I gave myself a bit of credit for this, and I was delighted. And my buddy as well, he wasn't long after me, and do you know, he's a bit older than me now. Do you know, he won't like me saying that, no doubt. But he done really well as well, do you know, for his age and stuff, and I'm going to keep going with it.
It's addictive, like.
It is addictive, isn't it?
But I thought the same. It's when you, see, if that mindset, you're going to drive it on as hard as you can. You're not going to dawdle, like.
No.
And when you do give it everything, there's no better feeling. Like.
And I tell you what, right, it was raining out Saturday, right, and it pissed down, and I'm there, right, with the head down and the two hands in the handlebars, and I'm passing people on razors, and they're looking at me and they're saying, fuck. One fella pulled me out and he says, you the fella on the mountain bike? I says, yeah. He says, fair fucking play it, yeah. So I had it. I needed to. There wasn't one opportunity that I took a rest.
Yeah.
I just kept going, and I be honest with you, and it's probably, I know fellas who do triathlons and stuff, and they don't even stop to go for a wee.
Yeah.
They'll piss on the bike, and they're pissing their pants when they're running. They keep going. They don't, because to drive that to have is unbelievable. No, I can understand why.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's amazing.
It's addictive.
Did you go down there? How did the gym route then start from there? Yeah.
Came back and I said, look, Jesus, like, after losing that amount of weight, the feeling, how I was feeling, you know, the clothes, like I said, right, I might have been altogether happy with in the birthday suit, you could say.
Yeah.
But still, I was, you know, coming from being 22 stone, you know, it's a very overwhelming experience to him, because it is, you know, it is life changing, like.
Yeah.
Do you know, truthfully, like, and I'll just give you a couple of examples, you know, that this is why I call this like, losing weight to an extent is an emotional roller coaster. Like, if you're not prepared for it, like I wasn't prepared for it at all. And just in examples, even with girls, like, you know, from being in the shadows, you know, not being taken seriously to be noticed. Yeah. Like, that's overwhelming. Yeah. Do you know, where I'd never done any work on myself to say, Jesus, your self-love is going to be, you know, you deserve to be like that. You know, I didn't do any of that, just done the food and the train. You know, and
there was no emotional intelligence around any of things. Yeah.
Like, and that's why I always say, you know, the food and training won't change your life. It's working the mind with the body is what's going to give you the biggest change. Yeah. And this is why we do it, because this is what I've been through myself, you know. So I guess the journey of filling out the frame came into just when I came back that time from Dubai. I was in going into third year of agriculture, and I just got an interest. You know, I was like, I was loving it. I was loving the fitness, loving this, the weight loss, like, you know. And I said, Jesus, I wouldn't mind, you know, putting some fucking time and energy into it more, in terms of learning more about it, because it's like, right, I don't know how to fill out the body, or I don't know what calories are, or, you know, I was told the carbs are the devil, and just cut everything else out, like, you know. And so I done a nutrition and a personal training course in the evening time, blowing Cork there, or in Image Fitness it was called, in Bishopstown. So I used to do there 3 nights a week after college, and I started to, like, learn about calories. And I was my own experiment in. Yeah. You know? Yeah. I was literally my own experiment in, and I had to break through the barriers of actually, like, trying to get someone to, you know, eat 2,500 calories after losing all the weight at 800 calories
that's tough in the head, I'd say.
It's a hurdle. Like you're you're breaking all the beliefs that you had that you've lost, and you're afraid of your life putting the weight back on. Like it was an absolute emotional roller coaster.
And the calorie count for a male is it? I know for a female it's 1,800. Is it
around 2.5?
2.5 for a man.
2.5, yeah. On average, you could say.
That's without them putting on weight.
Yeah,
too much weight.
Depending on the height and weight and whatnot, but on average. So even for myself, like if I wanted to, I just went to my maintenance. 6'2" was around 2,800 or so. But I was afraid to eat to 2,800, so I started on 2,000 and built it up. Do you know, because I was afraid.
I can relate to it. I can completely relate to it.
I was afraid of my life of putting the weight back on, truthfully. But on hindsight then, you know, being taught how to train properly and using myself and starting to see the body starting to fill and the chest tightening, and it was like addictive. Like I was like, oh my God, like this is actually like, this is really working. Like, and I started to look differently, and there is hope there. Yeah. Do you know?
And did that help? Did that help you emotionally as well?
Like the confidence, it really did, right? To an extent where, you know, I started to shape up more, and I had to go through like another mental barrier where, and this is like going through that another 15 months, just to give everyone an idea. I lost 8 stone in 15 months, and 15 months later, my first photo shoot. Okay. Ripped up to shreds, like, and looked good. Like you wouldn't think I was ever had weight on me, like. But that journey of 15 months was filling out the frame firstly, cutting down. Probably done 2 cuts over that 15 months and bolts to fill out the frame and tighten up. And it wasn't perfect in terms of the skin and everything, but it was a hell of a lot better.
So you went from 81.
Yeah, 81.
What were you at the photo shoot?
Oh, 79.
79, but you were in good condition for 79.
I went from, over that 15 months, I went from 81 kilos, I probably went up to 92 or 3.
Yes,
to fill the frame. Yeah. Had to go through that phase of feeling like bulky again, or, you know.
That's how you build muscle.
That's how you do it. It's the process, right? And the reality, and I got okay with that. And that was like breaking that barrier again of, Jesus, like I have to sacrifice feeling or looking like this, or it wasn't even bad, like, but like being heavier again, leaving the scales go up, like, do you know, that was very hard. And saying this is the process, trust it, like, and just trust what you're doing, and then bringing it down and then going again and cutting down. And, you know, it's a journey, like, it really is. And it's like, I say to everyone, like, people say, you know, oh, you're into the gym, or the gym is not everything. The gym is the closest thing to self-development without costing you anything. Like it's personal development, like that you can improve yourself, and no one else can do it. You can't buy that, right? You can't buy that, like, and that helps you in many other areas from a mental perspective, confidence, self-belief in other areas of your life. So, because even for me, you know, I went from like lackadaisy in college, like very easy going, you know, dragging through exams kind of a thing, to like being on point, like, you know, doing a master's.
You started to focus.
Just literally started ricocheting off other areas of my life, because I could see what I could give myself, and then I knew I was worth it. I could do it in other areas. So just like it helped me in so many other areas, and that's why I say it to so many people, like, you don't realize how many other areas this will actually help you in. Yeah, it's not just the body or this you know, the, you know, surface level stuff. It's going to help you so many other areas. But the biggest change of, you know, going through that 15 months, Tim, you know, I done the thing then. You know, I done like the photo shoot, and that's where I suppose the mindset journey really started at that point. And that's where the real journey started, if you ask me, truthfully.
The internal one.
The internal one. Because I remember...
That's a tough one, there.
It's a tough one. That takes time. Yeah. And I just remember doing the photo shoot. It was actually blowing Cork. And I remember looking at myself, and I was saying to my brother, I was like, geez, I need to fix this. I need to be better here. Arms need to be bigger here. And it's like, he just said to me, Dave, like, if someone walked past you and didn't see it for a year, they wouldn't even think it's you. Like. Do you know, you can't see it, like. Yeah. And it was just like, I was so hypercritical on myself, like, so hard on myself, that I couldn't see it. And I was like, okay, you know, maybe he has a point. Why aren't I fulfilled? Like, you know, why I look great from the outside.
Isn't it amazing how another person's perspective of you is it can be so is truthful and honest.
Yeah.
You know, but we can't see it ourselves then.
We can't see it, like, you know, and again, it's when you say you have to, like, the advice you give to others, you have to take yourself.
100%.
You know, and sometimes it can be easier said than done. But at the time, you know, I said to myself at the times, like, you know, I done the thing, like, you know, I made my sister proud. I done it now. Like, I've literally went from being heavy to not being happy with the body to being happy in the body, you could say, from the outside. But I was like, why do I not feel? Because in my head at the time, through that journey to him, I was like, when I get the 6-pack, everything will change. It's like winning the lotto. It was literally, that's how I felt. Like, you know, that's how I felt. Like, I was like, that's going to answer all of my questions. All the problems will be answered.
I think we all have that one.
Oh my God. And then I just, like, felt worse. I was like, fucking no sex drive, fucking fit to no woman. Like, you know, no energy. Like, God. People asking you sick. Like, I was like, Jesus. Like, but anyway, regards, like, the biggest thing was like, right, I've done the thing. I was like, why aren't I fulfilled? And I was like, okay, I need to figure this out. And that's where I started working on the mindset side of it and trying to, like, unravel why I was so hard on myself, why I couldn't give myself any bit of attention or affection, like, and because I used to be in relationships at the time, and I can talk to you all about that as well, because I think that's very important as well. Just while we're on the topic of, you know, going from being overweight to being my first relationship, being in shape, not feeling good enough for that girl, or girls, you could say, because I couldn't give myself that attention. I can only say all this now because I've done the work. I didn't know at the time. I didn't know at the time.
You understand it now.
You know, and I didn't realise that I needed attention from girls to, like, because I couldn't give it to myself. And, you know, even being in relationships at the time, I'd always have in my head, it's like, sure, I'd be looking at her, she's a good looking girl, like, I was like, what the hell is she doing with me? Like, do you know, I was like, and anytime I'd ever out, I'd walk, gone. I was like, sure, I just said in my head, like, sure, she's too good for me anyway. So I just exit, like, you know, and she'd have to come, even if I caused her out, she'd have to still come back and sort it. Because in my head, she'd be like, oh, you're stubborn out, but, like, it actually wasn't that at all. It was actually that in my mind, I was like, she's like, I'll never be with her anyway. Like, she hasn't seen the true colours, or she haven't seen, because I was looking at myself through the lens of 22 stone still. You know, so
that takes time, don't it?
Oh, sure.
It takes time for that belief that you have to change. You know, it doesn't change overnight, although we'd love it. And the amount of relationship,
there's a switch, like
that's the thing. And the point I'll make here is like, even for addicts and alcoholics, when they get sober, it's like they're in the rush to get all the things that they never got before: an education, a good job, financial security, car, insurance, you know, an apartment or a house or whatever. All these things take time. They don't come because you can't come fast. I was in such a rush to get all these different things at the beginning, and I absolutely ran myself straight into the ground because I didn't understand what was going on for me. And today it's just about, I understand things will come when they're supposed to come. You know, things will come into my life when they're supposed to come, not when they're not. Not when I want them to happen.
Absolutely.
They'll come when I'm ready for them. And I look at the life journey. I look at the journey in life as a stairs. I just look at it as in, like, you've 13 steps in the stairs. You start at the bottom and you work your way to the top. You don't jump from 1 to 3 or 4, because every individual step that you take from 1 to 13, there's something there to help you get to the next step.
Absolutely,
and if you skip it, you're missing something.
You're not ready for it.
And you're not ready for the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th step if 100%. You skip 2. And it's so important. And it took me a really long time to understand that there was so much work. I dove really deep, like at the beginning, with my own psychotherapist, with myself around meditation, which is powerful. I found for me to be non-judgmental to myself. I have compassion for myself, for me to meet my inner child, to meet my, not just the inner child, but the inner teen, the inner young man, where I was 22, 23. 28, 29 and go back, because you have to understand he is the same person at 28 as he is when he's 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
He still doesn't know how to process emotions like a 6 or 7 year old doesn't know how to process emotions. In fact, it's actually worse when you're 28, 29, because I was full of shame, full of guilt, full of fear over all the stuff that I was causing to people in my own life, you know, and that's where a lot of the stuff came for me. And when I realised that it's great to go back and do some of the inner child work, but you also have to meet yourself at all the other stages in your life and meet that person and process whatever more. See, we go back now as the healthy adult or someone that's a little bit better than themselves, and we love that part of ourselves, because if you don't love that part of yourself, you're never going to move forward. You're still going to always have the same issues. And when I realised that, when things started to change for me, it was like, oh my God. Firstly, I had to stop fighting myself. Stop fighting with all the fucking shit that was in my head. Stop fighting with all the emotions that were surfacing. And my life started to change. And that's the journey you're on at the moment with the coaching as well.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree anymore. Like, because the biggest thing, like, going through mindset, going through self-love, self-appreciation, you learn so much about yourself.
Yeah.
And you can, you know, even for me, you know, talking about relationships and going through, you know, even for me being single, I had to be with seeing 2 or 3 girls to get that attention. It was like a void. And all my friends would be like, Jesus, you're some man. But I was like, in my head, I was like, no, I need it. Like,
you crave
I couldn't
it.
give it to myself.
Yeah.
And like, and you know, perception again is like, oh, you're great. No, it wasn't that. I didn't know what it was. But, you know, making decisions, coming from that place, I didn't know any of it at the time till I actually had to understand more about myself, start to understand that I had to be able to give myself my own attention, that I was okay, fulfilled with myself and be my own best friend.
Yeah.
Because without that, like you said something there, if you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. You know, and through that journey, you might have your guilt or what you've done, like even for myself, you know, hurting people, etc. It's not you, you know, it's not you at the time. Because when you go through something dramatic, or you go through a dramatic change, life change, whatever it is, you have to be able to process it the correct way.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, so many people don't, you know, and that's what causes hurt. And you could say people looking for validation of other things, low frequency things.
Yeah.
You know, it's escape. Like.
Yeah, 100%.
You know.
And even and you can tell us as well how you cope today and how you process stuff.
Yeah.
And I know one or two friends of mine have different ways as well. But when there's stuff going on for me, you know, when something comes up for me, you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I initially don't know what's after surfacing. I don't know what it is. I just feel a little bit low, and I know that I'm not great company.
Yeah.
Right? My wife will say, "What's wrong? What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
And I'd say, "I just have things going on for me at the moment, and I might know what's going on. Might be fear, might be shame, might be guilt, you know, which is resurfacing from before." And my way of dealing with that is, some people want to say, sure, just say affirmations. No, for me, no. For me, it's about, okay, this is happening right now. This is going nowhere. This is resurfacing because it needs to be here. If it needs me to process it. And when I say a process, I need to allow it in.
Leave it happen.
I need to leave it here with me, and leave me to sit with it and feel it, and just don't judge it. Don't judge what's going on for me. Don't judge my thinking around it, and just allow it and breathe. And if people are asking you around you, what's going on? What do you like this? My only words are, I'm just dealing with stuff at the moment going on for me. It's not you.
Yeah.
It's not him. It's not her. It's just me, and this is how I am when I'm dealing stuff. And people that understand you and know you will say, that's fine, that's fair enough. you know, and they'll leave you off, because some people will go into their heads thinking that there's something wrong with them, they're after doing something wrong because you're quiet towards them.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is, no, there's nothing wrong with them. They're not after doing anything. It's just, this is how I deal with stuff.
And that's what happens in so many different friendships, relationships. When you don't know that, when they do ask what is wrong, so you don't know.
No, you just don't know.
Then they do think there's something wrong with them.
Because you don't know what's wrong with you.
Don't know, like.
And because you're quiet and everybody's different. Something that, when I firstly understood this stuff, when I say understood it happened emotionally for me. Instead of intellectually, it was like the fighting stopped. I stopped fighting everything that was going on for me. And I started breathing, and my mind was racing, and my body was just full of just this awkward feeling. It's just this really, really kind of hopeless kind of feeling. This, and then my head was saying, "You're never going to get. It's always going to be like this, and you're always going to." And they were the thoughts that I became aware of, and the emotions that I started becoming aware of, and I just allowed them. But after I done it the second time and the third time, and I started to realise that I was getting well faster, getting in better mood, I started to know, right. When it started happening, I said, okay, this could be here for an hour, it could be here for 2 hours, might be here for a day, but it'll be gone. I know it'll always go, you know. And but before when I didn't know this information, I would spiral right down, and I hit the floor, and I could be in a really difficult spot for a week and 2 weeks, you know. And that doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't happen in my life anymore, you know. I really, really, really put the work in. I sat out here for many and many hours, just sitting here with uncontrollable energy just running up and down my body. Not understanding where it's coming from, but just allowing it, allowing no judgment of it, no, not being curious about where it's coming from or why I'm like this, or just trusting the process of it and just believing that I'm healing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, massively.
And there's that kind of information. Not a lot of people know about it, Dave. Not a lot of people know about that kind of information.
You know, even for myself, going through my journey, or when I didn't know anything about working at mind, or, you know, journaling, or, you know, meditating, I said, that's all a waste of time. You know, I wouldn't give it, I have no time for that. Do you know, all these things we tell ourselves.
My same thoughts.
Literally, it's like, sure, I haven't time for that, Georgie. And you're like, you know, that's for you wouldn't say who's for, like, but you're like, that ain't for me, like. Yeah. And the biggest thing for me is, like, the more you can understand yourself, it's when you're in you could say, a low frequency state. That's where I always say, that's where the monkey comes to play. And the monkey mind, right? That's when you have the monkey swinging off every fear and emotion, going anxiety out your ears. And of course, he's going to win down there. So when you're down here, and that's where you go for the validation of the food, the porn, the drink, the drugs, all that low frequency stuff, because you think it's going to bring you up, but it just brings you down more.
It just makes you worse.
Spiral. The reality of it, whereas for me, I had to understand that there's ways of bringing yourself up. So, like, self-love and appreciation. And the more, I always say, the more you can lift your frequency and bring you up to a place where you're enlightened, you're not going to feel like you're not going to, the monkey won't be there.
Yeah.
And the times that, like, even for myself, I could resonate an awful lot. There's times that you have to just, I always say, you're a navigator in your own ship. And sometimes you just have to navigate. Yeah. And what I mean by that is you just have to just feel it.
Allow it. Just allow it.
And understand that, you know, sometimes it's going to be like that.
And, like, even this conversation now might sound a little bit kind of different planet to somebody that might be listening to some of this information for the first time. Yeah. Because I know if I listened to this 12, 13 years ago, I would have been focusing, what the fuck are the two words on about? Do you know? But no, it's like the only thing that I ever found to help me through everything. You can learn all the information with a psychiatrist, psychologist, psychotherapist, a counsellor. They'll give you all the information. They'll tell you why you feel like this. They'll walk you through it. But there's only one person that can help you,
yourself.
And that's yourself.
100%.
And it's about sitting there on the chair and just allowing yourself to feel what's going on for you, instead of having to go out and make a cup of tea or make the dinner or wash the wear or wash the clothes or hang out the washing on the line or feed the dog. It's about just sitting still and just like, sometimes it's like I can feel it on my body. It's like, oh, body just wants to fucking buck you out of it.
Yeah.
Get you up and get you out. But they're the emotions that need to be felt. And that's when I started to realise that these old thought patterns that I had, the negative thought patterns, didn't have the energy they had before.
Yeah.
And that's when my life started to change.
Yeah.
They didn't have the same strength where it would drag me down.
That's it. Do you
Do you
not
know
have
what I
control
mean?
over you anymore.
They didn't.
Yeah.
Because the energy, the power was gone out of them. It was gone out of them from me just sitting with it. Do you know what I mean?
It's like I was saying earlier, it's building up that wall of resistance.
Yeah.
And when it passes and when you see it starting to work, the wall starts to get higher.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you can't get over the wall anymore.
Yeah.
That's when you live with it
Yeah.
and you understand it. And it's so important, because it's like you said, some people mightn't be able to relate it right now. But what I say to any of our clients, or even anyone, is that you can do it in two ways, very, very simple, from home right now. One is action, right? So I always give the example of, right, we can go to bed. We're not going to wake up fucking perfect every day. We don't wake up fucking perfect fucking flowers out of our arse. We don't. We just don't.
Yeah, 100%.
Sometimes you just don't wake up in great form. What I do every morning is I do something to get the heart going. Now, I do 100 burpees. So people think I'm nuts, right? But I guarantee you.
Straight through.
No, Jesus, 4 sets to 25.
Yeah.
I'd be dead.
That's still 25 burpees is tough.
Yeah, it's tough going. But you get done 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But 10 minutes, everything changes.
Yeah.
Because that feeling you had,
Yeah.
I always say, if you're feeling something, and this doesn't have to be 100 burpees now. This can be
cold shower.
A cold shower. It can be a cold shower.
Yeah.
It can be a half an hour walk with no electronics.
Yeah.
No electronics. Give yourself some time to process how you're feeling. Give yourself time to talk to yourself, like you sit still, right? Give yourself some time to process, because the problem now, I always say to my clients, if I'm stressed, if I'm going to flip, right? If I'm stressed, I'll go for a walk with no electronics.
Yeah.
I'll give myself time to process it, and everyone needs to do this, because we have Audible, we have podcasts, we have everything under the sun. We have technology. You never get, when we listen to everything else, we don't give ourselves time for us to analyse how we are.
Yeah.
And it's the best thing you can actually do to come away, and you'll feel better after it. Like I said, you can do a half an hour walk in the morning. First thing in the morning, you feel